Part 1. Why reading is important. I am a teacher, and one question my students ask me a lot is, why should I read if I already go to class and watch movies in English? I understand why they ask this. Reading can feel hard, and sometimes it seems easier to just watch videos or listen to teachers. But today, I want to share why reading is so important and how it can help you in many ways. When I was young, I didn't like reading much either. I would rather watch TV or play games. But one day, a teacher told me something that changed my mind. She said, "Reading helps you understand the world better. It opens up your mind to new ideas, and it makes you smarter." At first, I didn't believe her, but I decided to give reading a try. And she was right. The more I read, the more I learned, and it became easier to understand things in school and in life. You see, when you read, you are not just looking at words. You are learning how to think, how to understand, and how to solve problems. That's why reading is important. It helps you in ways you don't even notice at first. One of my favorite quotes about reading comes from George R.R. Martin, the author of Game of Thrones. He said, "A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one." This means that when you read, you get to experience different worlds, different ideas, and different lives. It's like living many lives, all through the power of books. Now, let me tell you about one way to start reading in a smart way. It's called skimming and scanning. Skimming means reading quickly to get the main idea of a text. Scanning means looking for specific information, like dates or names. These two techniques help you read faster and focus on what's important. Skimming. Let's say you have a long chapter to read, but you don't have much time. Skim the chapter by reading the first and last sentence of each paragraph. This gives you a general idea of what the text is about. Scanning. If you need to find one piece of information, like a date or name, don't read everything. Instead, scan the text, looking for key words or numbers. This saves you time and helps you find what you need quickly. These techniques are really helpful when you have a lot of reading to do but need to focus on what's most important. I remember a student once telling me, "I don't have time to read long books." But I told him, "You don't have to read every word to learn from reading. Use skimming and scanning, and you'll still learn a lot." He tried it, and soon he was reading more than ever before. Reading is not just about school or tests. It's about learning how to think and understand the world. And that's why it's so important. Even if you think you don't like reading, give it a chance. You might find out that you enjoy it more than you thought. Part 2. The Power of Vocabulary. In the last part, we talked about why reading is important. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest benefits of reading, vocabulary. Many students tell me, "I don't understand many words in English." This is normal. But do you know the best way to learn new words? Reading. When you read, you come across new words all the time. These words are in sentences, so you can often guess their meaning without needing a dictionary. Over time, you will learn more and more words, and this makes understanding English much easier. Let me tell you a story about one of my students. His name was Mark. Mark struggled a lot with speaking in English. He knew a few words, but he didn't have enough vocabulary to have a conversation. He would often say, "I can't find the right words to say what I mean." I told him, "Mark, you need to start reading more." He didn't believe me at first. He thought speaking was the only way to get better at English. But I explained that reading helps you learn words in context, and that would make his speaking better too. So, Mark started reading. He didn't choose long books. He started with short stories and articles. Every day, he read for 20 minutes. At first, he didn't understand many words, but I told him to be patient and to keep going. After a few weeks, he started to notice something. He could understand more words, and soon he was able to use those words in conversation. Mark's story shows how reading can help you build a strong vocabulary. When you read, you learn new words, phrases, and expressions without even trying. It's one of the easiest ways to improve your language skills. Here's one of my favorite quotes about reading from Dr. Seuss, the famous children's author. He said, "The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go." This quote is so true. Reading not only helps you learn new words, but it also helps you discover new ideas and understand the world better. Now, let's talk about another way to improve your English through reading. It's called reading aloud. This is when you read a book or article out loud, instead of just in your head. Reading aloud helps you practice your pronunciation and makes you more comfortable speaking English. Here's how reading aloud works. Pick a short text, like a page from a book or a newspaper article. Read it out loud, focusing on clear pronunciation. Don't worry if you make mistakes. The important thing is to hear yourself speak in English. Another great way to improve your speaking and listening skills is by using shadowing. Shadowing means listening to someone read or speak in English, and then you repeat what they say right after them. This helps you improve your pronunciation and rhythm in English. It's like practicing speaking with a partner, but you are learning from the audio. Here's how to practice shadowing. Find an English podcast or an audiobook. You can even use YouTube videos with subtitles. Play the audio and listen carefully. After each sentence or phrase, pause the audio and repeat what you heard. Try to match the speaker's pronunciation and speed. One student I had, Maria, was very shy about speaking in English. She said, "I'm afraid of making mistakes." I told her to try reading aloud at home and use shadowing with podcasts. At first, she was nervous, but after a few weeks, she became much more confident. Now, Maria can speak clearly and isn't afraid to join conversations in class. So, if you feel like you don't know enough words, or you struggle with speaking, try reading more and use techniques like reading aloud and shadowing. Over time, you'll notice big improvements in your vocabulary and speaking skills. Remember, reading helps you grow your vocabulary, and that makes everything else in English, speaking, writing, and listening, easier. Part 3. Reading for Fun. In the last part, we talked about how reading can improve your vocabulary and help you speak better. Now, let's talk about something just as important: reading for fun. Many students think reading is only for studying or passing exams, but reading can be fun too. And when you enjoy reading, you learn faster and remember more. Let me tell you about a student I had named Lisa. Lisa didn't like reading. She thought it was boring and hard. She told me, "Why should I read when I can just watch movies or listen to music?" I understood her feelings. Reading seemed like work to her, and she wasn't interested in reading school textbooks. But I told her, "You don't have to read boring books. You can read anything you like." Lisa didn't believe me at first, but I encouraged her to try reading something fun, something she enjoyed. She loved adventure stories, so I gave her a simple adventure book with short chapters. After reading just a few pages, she came to me with a smile and said, "I actually like this. It feels like I'm in the story." From that day, Lisa started reading every day. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. That's the magic of reading for fun. When you enjoy what you're reading, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like an adventure. You can read comics, mystery stories, fairy tales, or even science fiction. Anything that makes you excited to turn the page. And here's the best part. You are learning without even realizing it. As you enjoy the story, your vocabulary grows, your understanding improves, and you start to think more in English. There's a famous quote by Joseph Addison that says, "Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body." This means that just like exercise makes your body strong, reading makes your mind strong. The more you read, the more you exercise your brain, and the smarter you become. One of the best reading techniques to use when reading for fun is intensive reading. This means you read a story slowly and carefully, paying attention to every detail. You don't need to rush. The goal is to fully enjoy the story and understand it deeply. Here's how it works. Choose a book or story you enjoy. Read slowly, paying attention to every word and sentence. If you come across a word you don't know, try to guess its meaning from the sentence. If you still don't understand, look it up in a dictionary. Think about the characters, the plot, and how the story makes you feel. Another technique to use is reading in chunks. Instead of reading the whole book in one go, divide it into small sections. This makes it easier to follow the story, and it gives you time to think about what you've read before moving on to the next part. Let me share a story about a boy named Max. Max didn't like reading at first, but he loved superheroes. So, I suggested he read comic books. At first, he thought comics didn't count as real reading, but once he started, he couldn't stop. Max loved the pictures and the action-packed stories. And guess what? His English improved. He learned new words and expressions, and his reading skills got better every day. Max didn't feel like he was studying. He was having fun, and that made all the difference. When you read for fun, you're not just learning words. You're learning how to think, imagine, and create. Your mind gets stronger, and reading becomes something you look forward to. It doesn't matter what type of book you choose. What matters is that you enjoy it. There's another famous quote from Dr. Seuss that I love. You can find magic wherever you look. Sit back and relax. All you need is a book. This quote shows us that books are full of magic and excitement. You can go anywhere, meet anyone, and experience things you've never imagined, all from the pages of a book. If you're not sure where to start, think about what you love. Do you like adventure, fantasy, romance, or mystery? Start with a book that matches your interests. And remember, reading doesn't have to be serious. It can be light, funny, and full of fun. So, next time you feel like reading is boring, think again. Pick up a book you're excited about, and you'll see that reading can be an enjoyable adventure. Reading for fun is not just about learning, it's about enjoying the journey. Part 4. How reading makes you smarter. In the last part, we talked about how reading for fun can be an exciting way to learn. Now, let's focus on another important part of reading, how reading makes you smarter. You may have heard people say that reading helps improve your focus, memory, and imagination. But do you know why that happens? Let me explain. When you read, your brain has to work in different ways. You have to focus on the words, understand the sentences, and remember what you've read. This helps your brain become stronger, just like lifting weights helps your muscles grow. The more you read, the better your brain gets at focusing and remembering things. Let me tell you about a student I had named David. David found it very hard to concentrate in school. He would always say, "I can't focus. I keep forgetting things." I told him, "David, start by reading just a little bit every day. It will help." At first, he didn't believe me, but he tried it anyway. He started reading for just 10 minutes a day. After a few weeks, he came to me and said, "I can focus better now. Reading helps me remember things more easily." That's the power of reading. It doesn't just help you learn new words, it helps you train your brain. When you read, you have to remember the characters, the plot, and the details. This makes your memory stronger, and you become better at keeping track of information. There's a famous quote by Stephen King, the author of many popular books, that says, "Books are uniquely portable magic." This means that books can take you to magical places without you even leaving your chair. And while you enjoy these magical stories, your brain is working hard, making you smarter every day. Reading also helps improve your imagination. When you read, you have to picture the story in your mind. You create images of the characters, the places, and the events. This helps you become more creative. And creativity is not just for artists, it's useful in every part of life. Whether you want to solve problems or come up with new ideas, creativity is important. Another technique that can help you while reading is called annotation. Annotation means making notes while you read. You can underline important sentences, write questions in the margins, or highlight new words. This technique helps you think more deeply about what you're reading, and it makes it easier to remember important details later. Here's how to practice annotation. While you're reading, keep a pencil or highlighter with you. When you see an interesting idea, underline it or highlight it. If you don't understand something, write a question next to it. You can also write down new words and their meanings in the margins or on a separate piece of paper. One of my students, Sarah, didn't understand why annotation was helpful. She thought reading was just about going from one page to the next. But after I explained how making notes while reading helps you think more, she tried it. A week later, she told me, "Annotation helps me remember the most important parts of the story. I don't forget things as easily." Reading isn't just about understanding words, it's about thinking and learning. The more you engage with the text, the more you'll get out of it. Another benefit of reading is that it helps you become more creative and imaginative. When you read, you are entering new worlds, meeting new people, and experiencing new adventures. This helps you develop new ideas and become more creative in your own life. For example, many inventors, artists, and scientists were also big readers. They learned to think creatively because they read a lot. Let me share another quote, this time from Albert Einstein, who was one of the greatest scientists in history. He said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge. For knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world." This means that while facts and knowledge are important, imagination is what truly helps you grow. Reading helps you develop that imagination. One more reading technique that can help you become smarter is called summarizing. After you finish reading a page or a chapter, try to summarize what you've read in just a few sentences. This helps you focus on the most important points and remember the key details. Here's how to summarize. After reading a section, stop and think about the main ideas. In your own words, write or say a short summary of what you've just read. Focus on the key events, characters, or ideas. If you can't remember something, go back and reread it. Summarizing helps you organize the information in your mind, making it easier to remember and understand. So, the next time you read a book, think about how it's helping you. It's not just about finishing the story, it's about becoming smarter, more creative, and better at focusing and remembering. Reading makes you stronger, both in your mind and in your imagination. Part 5. Reading is the key to success. In the last part, we talked about how reading makes you smarter and helps improve your focus, memory, and creativity. Now, let's talk about something just as important. Reading is the key to success. No matter what you want to do in life, reading will help you get there. Many successful people, leaders, inventors, and scientists have one thing in common. They are all readers. They read to learn, to grow, and to understand the world better. Let me tell you why reading can open doors for you. When you read, you gain knowledge. You learn new facts, new ideas, and new ways of thinking. This knowledge helps you make better decisions in life. Whether you want to be a doctor, a teacher, a business owner, or anything else, the more you know, the better prepared you are. I once had a student named Jack. Jack didn't like school and didn't want to read. He thought he didn't need it. But one day, Jack told me he wanted to start his own business. I told him, if you want to be a successful business owner, you need to start reading. Jack was surprised. Why do I need to read to run a business? He asked. I explained to him that reading would help him understand how businesses work, how to manage money, and how to make smart choices. Jack decided to give it a try. He started reading books about business, leadership, and success. Over time, he learned more about how to run a company, and he started feeling more confident. Eventually, Jack started his own small business, and it grew because of what he learned from reading. This is the power of reading. It gives you the tools you need to succeed. There's a famous quote by Margaret Fuller that says, "Today a reader, tomorrow a leader." This means that if you read today, you are preparing yourself to be a leader in the future. One of the best techniques to help you succeed through reading is goal setting. Set small goals for your reading. For example, decide to read 10 pages a day or one book a month. Setting reading goals will help you stay focused and motivated. Here's how to set reading goals. Start by choosing a book that interests you. Set a goal, like reading a certain number of pages each day or each week. Track your progress. You can use a notebook or a calendar to mark how much you've read. Reward yourself when you meet your goal. This will motivate you to keep going. Another way to use reading for success is to read books that inspire you. There are many biographies and success stories of people who have achieved great things. By reading their stories, you can learn from their experiences and get ideas for your own path to success. I had another student, Emily, who wanted to become a scientist. She loved learning about nature and animals, but she didn't know how to reach her goal. I gave her a book about a famous scientist who had discovered new species of animals. Emily was so inspired by the story that she decided to study harder and follow her dream. Today, she is studying biology in college and is on her way to becoming a scientist. One more reading technique that will help you succeed is critical thinking. When you read, don't just accept everything you see. Ask questions, think about what you're reading, and compare it with what you already know. Critical thinking helps you understand things better and prepares you to make smart decisions in life. Here's how to practice critical thinking while reading. As you read, ask yourself questions like, do I agree with this? Or what does this really mean? Think about how the information in the book connects with other things you've learned. If something doesn't make sense, look it up or ask someone for help. Let me share one last quote from Barack Obama. Reading is the gateway skill that makes all other learning possible. This means that reading opens the door to learning everything else. If you can read well, you can learn anything you want. When you read, you are not just learning new words or stories. You are preparing yourself for the future. Whether you want to be a doctor, a teacher, a business owner, or a leader, reading will give you the tools you need to succeed. Reading is your path to success. At the end of the day, success isn't about luck. It's about hard work, knowledge, and determination. And reading is the key that unlocks all of these things. The more you read, the more you know, and the more you grow. So, remember, read today, lead tomorrow. Every book you pick up is a step toward your future success. The world is full of opportunities, and reading will help you find and take those opportunities. Hope you have enjoyed the reading.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here today. I hope this story brought some fun to your English learning journey. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Learn English with me for more exciting and engaging stories. Your feedback and support mean the world to me and push me to keep creating better content for you. Stay tuned for more amazing stories to make learning English even more enjoyable. Keep practicing and have an awesome day.